Hello, everybody. This is Inherit the Earth by Brain Stableford, sequel to the Cassandra Complex, and all of it inspired by, but not the same thing as, the Third Millennium by the same author there. Apparently Stableford likes his kidnapping stories, because that's what the Cassandra Complex is. Starts off with the kidnapping. Everybody's got to go find him. So here we have Inherit the Earth. Dude in the beginning of the book gets kidnapped, and off go the race. This is 2041. This takes a jump of about 150 some years. It's 2193. For that big a jump, the technology didn't seem all that advanced, but there's at least some excuse simply because there were these plague wars in this world that kind of messed up the planet, among other things, actually destroying the reproduction system of most of the human race. And this starts off with a fellow. He is a little over 100 years old himself, but he looks quite a bit younger, and he's healthy. He has a very young girlfriend who is not quite as, I think it hinted she's in her very late teens. And he gets taken away. Enter Damon Hart, who he himself is a former Street Fighter turned virtual reality programming expert. And when he is introduced, he has a girlfriend, and they have a big explosive breakup. And the reason this happens is because in his virtual realities, he sometimes uses her as a model for the beginning stages of it, but later on he removes her likeness, but she just blows up. She doesn't like that her likeness is being used, especially what he's using it for, depending on the topic. In the real world, that's interesting because we do have now the advent of AI, which is using celebrity likenesses in deepfake pornography. And one, her name's, well, I don't know what her real name is, but Susu JPEG, she is a YouTuber, influencer, and she decided to go the opposite route, and she made, or had made, I don't know what her programming abilities are, but had made a program you can buy so you can use her likeness and do whatever the hell you want with it. She goes, you're going to do it anyway, so I might as well make money. I have no idea if she's gotten rich off this or not. So they have a big breakup, and she's out of the picture. So the kidnapping, he has a relation to this because the kidnapped person is one of his foster parents. His real father was named Conrad Helier, I believe it's pronounced. And he was the creator, along with this group of scientists who eventually become his foster parents. He created it and saved the human race. But Damon wanted to get away from his heritage, and he wanted to just go on its own business, so he completely estranged himself from his family, goes off, again, becomes a street fighter and then a virtual reality expert, but he is drawn back into this because the group that kidnapped his foster parent seems to think that his father, his actual biological father, may have released a plague that destroyed the reproductive abilities of the human race on purpose in order to take control of reproduction via this artificial womb, and they want him to answer for his crimes. They think maybe Conrad might be still alive, so they go get one of his colleagues, and this, of course, draws Damon out to go find answers and to see what is going on. Damon really gets, how shall I say, jerked around quite a bit. For someone wanting his freedom, and he does seem to have the ability to get around on his own and go where he wants, but he's getting pushed and pulled by everything from this group that did the kidnapping to Interpol to this old corporation, which was mentioned in the first book. And this seems to be the primary stress that he has. It's not just finding the answers; it's maintaining his own agency. There is age retardation in here. It's of a nanotech variety. You can control pain with it. You can heal from wounds better, and you can live a lot longer. It is limited to somewhere around 150 years. So you got time, a bridge to get to the next one. Hopefully that one's a little bit better. It's interesting that Damon can like for example, he's in a he gets forced into a virtual world via these implants, and immediately he looks around. He can tell that it's not real because he's an expert. But in the real world, he can't tell what's real and what's not. He at one point, after talking to one of his other foster parents, gets put on a plane, and he wants to go one place. The pilot takes him somewhere else. The pilot claims to have been working for that foster parent to take him somewhere safe, and he's like, "Well, how do I know that? Who is this guy? I can't trust him." When the plane lands, a whole other person comes out and goes, "Hey, why don't you come down in this elevator with me to this bunker? We can be safe there." He goes, "Who the hell are you, and how do I know I'm going to be safe there? I could be taken somewhere and abducted and tortured to death or something." And then these drones start showing up. Who are these people? And so he is literally pushed around just completely against his will and has no idea what's real in the actual real world. So a nice suspense created that way, and I actually really liked that. I think this is a step up from the Cassandra complex, so I did like that too. I feel like I'm missing something. Little note check. The group, the playing God stuff. So even though they're basically wanting to draw these people out and maybe answer for their crimes, they're also trying to, sort of, we got to make the rules too, but we're still the ones overseeing everyone else. It's like our morality is the best morality. Well, no, our morality is the best. No, our morality is the best morality. And they're all just butting heads over the topic of living longer and who deserves longer life. This reminded me of basically, like recently, the CEO who got killed. Because who's this guy to keep messing with us like that, and took him out. And that's what this one group is doing here. You don't deserve to live if you're going to try to take control of us like that. But they themselves, unlike the shooter in real life, they're trying to play God too and decides who gets to live longer or not. There is arguments in the real world about this sort of thing in life extension, because I follow this kind of news. And you wind up with a problem of a lot of contradictions. So a good example would be this lady, I cannot remember her name to save my life. She herself was a researcher, and she was at this function, and she got to sit down at a dinner table with Bill Gates. And she brought up the topic of life extension. And she said he did a 180 and got very angry with her. And he goes, "We don't deserve to do that until we solve malaria." Because that's his big thing and he's actually succeeding in getting malaria treatments for anyone around the world. Well, okay, someone else could say, well, I think you should solve world hunger before you solve malaria. Someone else could say we need to get people off the planet so we don't have all our eggs in one basket. And if something happens to the earth, we have people surviving off the planet. And so that argument never holds up that you should do this before you do this because we don't deserve it. And frankly, there's also a lot of most of the diseases that we suffer from have the same sorts of mechanisms that are in aging. And so if you can solve, even if you don't get the actual nitty-gritty of living forever, a lot of problems can be solved in the study of aging to apply them to all these diseases from cancer, heart failure. And even then, when you get into the actual life extension researchers, people who butt heads about actually living longer versus just your health span. We want you to live healthier longer, not necessarily longer. It's like some people in aging research were afraid of living centuries. And I guess it's a big jump. It's a scary thing. But regardless, that's what's at the center of these books. So we've had a 150-year jump. That is book 2 of 6. This is Dark Ararat, and I looked up the word Ararat. I always heard it, Mount Ararat. It actually means sacred place or ground. So this will be the 3rd book. Hundreds of years in our future, humanity is expanding out into the galaxy in gigantic colony ships. So we're going hundreds of years in the future, rather than just almost a couple centuries. Slower than light speed, the ships are filled with long-lived people who are, nevertheless, in suspended animation for all or much of the voyage. One ship has reached a promising world and begun a colony, but not everyone has yet been awakened. Matthew Fleury is shocked to learn that he has been revived from suspended animation to replace a colleague who has been murdered. All right, so we're not starting off with the kidnapping. Good. Is the planet still inhabited by the alien race that left ancient ruins and great cities, and who killed the eminent scientists leading the investigation of the ruins? If the aliens survive, then the planet becomes off limits to humans, and the ship must find another planet to colonize. There are some colonists who would kill to leave, and some who would kill to stay. So I don't know, since this one's 2041 to 2193. See if we can get any years. This one says 2817, so we're going way in the future. They weren't kidding, hundreds of years. Anyway, that's book 3 of 6. So video a week on immortality, so 4 more weeks of this, and then I intend to, what do I do with it? I don't see it. There it is. Take my first steps into Warhammer 40k. I just wanted to dip into it. I don't know if it'll set off the whole series, but there's a lot of books in this, so I can't pretend I'm going to try to read them all. And then we'll see what happens after that. That is it. Quick one on Immortality Book 2 on the Book 3. See you in a week. Bye-bye.